In the late spring of 2019, a local explorer discovered a time capsule in the middle of the woods. After being abandoned for over 2 decades, professional adventurer, the bearded explorer, discovered a breathtaking, deserted cottage. You'll never believe the treasure the explorers found, let alone the breathtaking state of the enchanted house. So, let's dive in and see what they uncovered. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. When you think about exploring the lands or diving into the mysteries of the past, you might think about the days of frontiersmen in the times of the Wild Wild West, or even fictitious characters like Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider's Lara Croft. However, there are modern-day explorers all around the world finding some incredible treasured items and stories, just like Colin, aka the Bearded Explorer, who, according to his YouTube page, explores anything abandoned and derelict across the world. There's no doubt that this professional explorer is hungry for adventure, and there was a very special and abandoned cottage calling out to him in 2019. Back in the day, explorers would track everything manually by either drawing out maps or writing notes in their personal journals. But with the development of technology, adventurers like the Bearded Explorer have taken things to a whole new level. With over 60,000 subscribers on YouTube and more than 26,000 followers on Instagram, the Bearded Explorer doesn't just find mysterious sites to explore, he also shares it with the word and via camera, allows his viewers to be a part of the journey. He prides himself as a video producer, and of course, he brought a camera along with him for the ride to this particular enchanted cottage. The beginning of this late spring adventure started out with Colin and his partner driving down a shrubbery-filled path. It seemed like this abandoned little cabin they were looking for wasn't the only thing that had been forgotten. With all of the fallen logs on the ground and the broken branches everywhere, the road itself proved to be quite abandoned, and the quest to make it all the way there would be a tough one. In fact, they actually couldn't even drive all the way down to the cabin. Talk about an actual wild ride. Colin shared the whole journey and revelation on his YouTube channel. The official tour video starts by him saying, "Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new location. Today we are in the middle of the English countryside, and we've needed the 4x4 to get most of the way here. But sadly, we've had to abandon it there, and we can't drive any further due to these trees which have fallen down." The fact that they needed to abandon ship, so to speak, and were left to continue their journey down to the cottage by foot just left them even more excited and eager to find the cottage. Upon approaching the cottage, Colin and his partner noticed that the cottage wasn't the only building in the area. Okay, so we're finally approaching the first building at this location. It's some kind of an outbuilding with a corrugated iron roof, which kind of shows the age of this place, Colin shared. However, the two were on a mission to find the cottage, and so they continued on with their journey. The closer they got to the cottage itself, the more surreal it all seemed. The exterior of the cottage looked like the combination of an enchanted cottage from a magical land, combined with a haunted house from a horror film. Regardless of how creepy it might seem from the cold, gray environment surrounding it, the green scenery covering the walls of the home brought it life, and was like a surreal piece of artwork. As you can see, it's been completely taken over by nature. It's almost invisible from certain locations. Like the top where we were earlier, you could quite easily drive past this, not even know it's here, Colin expressed with fascination. For a cottage to be so covered in the surrounding greenery, it must have been abandoned for quite some time. So how long exactly has it been since it was last lived in? The answer wasn't as obvious as they thought it would be. The invisible exterior can definitely be considered enchanting. However, while they were looking for a way to enter the building, Colin and his partner passed by another enchanting feature of the property. Along the side of the cottage, there was a really big ditch deep in the ground. "Oh my God, that's quite scary, actually," Colin shrieked as he got closer and closer to the ditch. As he peered in with his flashlight, he noted, "That goes down a very, very long way. It looks like it could be an old well. The water is so clear I couldn't actually see it. Wow, that's pretty cool." At the start of the video, Colin stated that it's believed that the house has been abandoned for around 30 years, but no one knows for sure. Not only that, but there were many rumors surrounding the secrets that the cottage holds. So, before they voyaged down the shrubbery-filled path down to the cottage and past the wondrous old well of water as clear as crystal, they had no idea what to expect once they entered the cottage. They only knew that it holds certain magic, and once they found a way in, they couldn't believe how true the rumors about this cottage were. How Colin and his trusted partner stumbled upon this enchanted English cottage in the first place is still a mystery, but they were determined to explore it and share it with the world. But it wasn't until the team reached the final room that they were able to figure out how long the time capsule cottage had been abandoned for. However, the whole place was absolutely fascinating. So let's take a look into what they have found inside and how they learned to realize how long it has been abandoned. So what exactly was stored away in this cottage that made this journey so fascinating in the first place? We just gained entry to the house and I'm absolutely speechless. If I'm honest, this place is absolutely amazing. Like everything, I mean everything is still here. Colin gasped with pure amazement and joy while taking his first look at the house. At a quick glance around, this little hidden home seems to be just abandoned with trash and junk. However, true explorers know that hunting for treasure is all about focusing on the details and investigating the site to understand the background story of it all. Surprisingly enough, the bearded explorer and his partner did not enter through the front door, and so the first room they began to search around seemed to be the kitchen. However, there were so many peculiar things about this room that told them a lot about the owners of the house, wherever they were. One of the first things to catch their attention was the drinkware in the cupboard. Look at all the cups hanging up on the wall. This is like something from a doomsday movie or something like that. It's just so surreal, Colin remarked. As Colin and his partner explored the little kitchen area, they couldn't help but notice something incredibly odd. In the midst of the dusty and abandoned meal area, there was an actual bed. Even though the bed was covered in dust, debris, an old book, and some big forest green cooking pots. What made seeing the bed there so eerie was the fact that it was basically untouched. And by untouched, we mean that the bed wasn't just a ripped up and old mattress, as you might imagine to see in an abandoned house. It was an actual ready-to-sleep-in bed with pillows and colorful bedding. Seeing a bed in the kitchen was quite intriguing and gave the explorers an idea of what was going on in the house. Well, the bearded explorer inferred that, since we've got a bed in the kitchen, I can only imagine that whoever was living here was very, very elderly, and they needed to actually sleep in the kitchen. So he wouldn't have to climb upstairs and things. It's quite sad, really. Another eerie item they spotted in the kitchen was that beyond the bed above the stove cooker, there were socks hanging up to dry. It's truly an amazing anomaly to see a decrepit room filled with all sorts of untouched time capsule treasures. And although the items left in the house didn't seem to have been moved since the mysterious owners had been there, the interior walls were completely faded and depleting. The pictures hung up around the kitchen were quite old, and all of the dishes were dirty from dust and debris. However, once they entered the second room of their adventure, they got a better idea of how old the house truly was. Colin had already discovered so much from just one room, which made him eager to explore the rest of the house. We're walking into the bathroom with a cast iron bath. This house must be very old, Colin declared. The bathroom had empty bottles and cleaning products scattered on the counter, as though someone had rummaged through it. The next room, likely the living room, left Colin awestruck. This is incredible. It's a shame to see the place in such a mess. Maybe the last owner was a hoarder. Look at the amount of books here. Among the piles of books was an upright piano, its wood faded but still standing. Nearby was a grand fireplace, its size and preserved bellows hinting at its past grandeur. Despite the house's beauty, there were eerie quirks too. Moving into the entryway, they encountered vines creeping through the doorframe and plaster barely clinging to the ceiling, creating an almost haunted atmosphere. In another room, branches resembling a wooden spider web clung to the walls. Broken furniture and shattered glass littered the area, and the wallpaper had faded from years of sunlight exposure. This room really shows the abandonment, Colin noted as he surveyed the chaos. Hidden amidst the mess was another fireplace, oddly covered for an unknown reason. The sheer number of books scattered throughout the house amazed them. "They must have loved reading," Colin remarked. As they continued exploring, Colin noticed they hadn't found the staircase. Circling back to the living room, his partner discovered a hidden door leading to it. Hanging on the door was a faded, old-fashioned jacket, left as though frozen in time. The couple was finally ready to take on the second floor, carefully climbing the yellow-painted stairs, which Colin noted were very fashionable back in the day. The first room they entered was labeled Louise's room. It was filled with paintings and art supplies, leading Colin to conclude definitely an artist of some sort. The untouched belongings were astonishing, adding to the mystery of the house. "It's incredible this house has just been left here like this. It's still got all the clothes in the drawers," Colin remarked. Outside Louise's room, an old floral print chair caught their attention. Sitting on it was a book titled The Concise Dictionary of Cats and a Mysterious Photograph. Colin speculated, "So this is possibly the people that used to live here." The next bedroom left the explorers speechless. The walls were overtaken by tree branches, creeping in as if nature had claimed the room. "That just shows how long this place has actually been empty," Colin noted. Inside the closet, piles of clothing and bedding were stuffed haphazardly, suggesting someone had rummaged through them without care. Colin commented on their unique taste, pointing out a leopard-patterned bedsheet. In the final room of the second floor, they found piles of books, scattered belongings, and a paraffin heater. However, one item stood out, a crumpled newspaper. Colin eagerly examined it, discovering it was dated February 11, 1993, confirming the house had been abandoned for at least 26 years. The room also revealed evidence of water damage. A broken chest of drawers covered in debris lay beneath a collapsed section of the ceiling. "It looks as if the ceiling has actually collapsed on that wardrobe, or chest of drawers," Colin observed. Throughout the house, a recurring fascination with felines was evident, from the cat dictionary to leopard and lion-themed bedding. It was clear the former occupants had a deep love for these animals. "This is incredible. This is just a time capsule. It really is," Colin concluded, as they finished exploring the fascinating frozen-in-time cottage.